Hello, everybody. Welcome to Trader Minute. Great to have you on board. I'm Carl. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon. Let's just go ahead and wrap this day up. The market looks to finish towards its highs. Looks like it's going to close right around the 1840 level. We've got what, half an hour left in the trading day, and just over the seven. This is the fourth trading day of the year, but it sounds kind of cool that this is the first trading day of the year that the market's been up out of 4 days. Um, no, there was some bullish signals out there all over the place, man. The trend rider, sorry, not the trend rider. There was a few trend riders, but vibe bull signals abounded, and I was just cherry picking as far as the top three, cherry picking from all kinds of bull vibe signals that were out there. Some of them fizzled and didn't really come back towards the end, but the ones that posted there in the top three, they stayed strong. Um, And so those look pretty good. We'll look at those here in a little while, run back over and see how those are closing. But Jim, Jim asked a question, and I'll get to some of the others. Just talking with Jeff about this, Tesoro. I wouldn't go anywhere in Tesoro. I wouldn't switch out of Tesoro to Valero. If you got a position working here on Tesoro, this is a beautiful bullish setup. See their big reversal, like most energy stocks today, down early, big reversal. It's got decent volumes, but this setup right here looks like it could break out and go up towards that $60 area. So no, it was me. I would stay into Tesoro and not go into Valero. If you were thinking of that, I'd stay into Tesoro. Yeah, you don't want to take both positions on. They're going to move fairly similar, but if I'm already into Tesoro, I don't go into Valero. This is still a nice looking setup. Okay, let's run through the positions really fast. We got Boeing up a couple dollars. It's a trend rider bull signal. This still looks strong, up over the 140 level. It's been had some pretty good volumes, and you get rid of this volume spike here, the 40, 50 million plus, and the volumes you can see they're pretty decent volumes here. They're up at the 50-day average, which is a positive. We're not going to exit Boeing today. We're going to look at this and ride this another day and decide at least another day here. And then also looking at Qualcomm, up 41 cents. So this is looks like it's going to close up here above the $73 area. That's a good thing. It was selling off a little bit earlier, but we always wait till the close to make decisions for the most part, and it's rallying here into the close. Okay, so that's a positive. We are not going to sell Qualcomm today. And then the last one, Morgan Stanley. Now looking at the financials, this is one group has pulled back a little bit during the day. I don't say pulled back. It's struggled today, is what I'd say. There's nothing, looking at the chart here in Morgan Stanley. The break here was above the 31.5, and we're still holding that. It's down 16 cents. The stop's on the 7, and the 7's well above where we got into the trade at. It's not going to hurt us if we wait another day here. It's not bearish. To me, all it's doing, it broke up above 31.5. We're retesting that level today. And this thing could springboard tomorrow. So we're not going to exit into the positions tonight. And we're going to look at these again tomorrow and see if we can't get some more out of these trades. Okay, so we're not going to exit the trades. We're going to ride these again tomorrow. And really, today's action on all of them, a little bit of a weakness here in financials. If it was just Morgan Stanley, I still wouldn't exit because we're still above the 7. We're still going to let this play out until we either get stopped out or it runs up to our price target. But again, that 7 still rising there, so our stops even a little bit tighter than where it was when we get in. But J.P. Morgan, there's the fine they're paying to get the Madoff thing off their back of 1.2 billion. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of money. It is a ton of money, right? I'd like to have that headache, but for them, it's nothing. 1.2 billion. But they've struggled a little bit today, and I don't think that's the main thing that's been weakening. The financials were outperforming the market yesterday when the market was down. Today the market's up pretty big. They're underperforming a little bit, nothing substantial. So I'm not too worried about Morgan Stanley. Again, if it drops below the 7, tomorrow we'll get out. Okay, so yeah, weird, Jimmy. We're going to hold all our positions. Boeing up a couple bucks. Hey, today is the first day it's triggering well, it did a little bit yesterday where it closed back just inside the upper band, but today it's a trend right bull signal, and the volumes are pretty good. I think this is going to be a nice breakout, and today was a nice strong breakout, and it's holding the gains. I'm going to let this ride another day, at least another day. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't argue Tesoro at all. Not at all. That's one of Jeff's. Just talking with Jeff, we just met here for a little while. That's why I was a little bit late, and it was one of Jeff's favorite picks of the day, Tesoro. Let me go look at it, okay, Tesoro. I know a lot of you are looking at this. The bullish nature of today that happened in the in the energy where they were down initially and then turn around to go positive. This is a great looking sign that this thing's ready to break out here above the prior resistance, just under that 58 and a half level like that. It's a good looking sign. It doesn't have a ton of volume, but the candlestick nature, the bullish nature right here is very positive. I couldn't argue Tesoro, Valero, Williams, any of these are great looking setups. Now, yeah, the Valero has taken off a little bit more than the others, up about 4%, but backed by the strong volume there, this thing looks to keep running. Then Williams Brothers, that's one of my runner-ups. I would not trade all these three together. They're going to move very similarly. Look at the charts; they're fairly the same. Same thing, nice bullish setup here. This is just under 40. This may see a little bit of a resistance around 40, where Valero has already taken off, and Tesoro is that below anything big? Now this could run up to 60. With a little bit more volume, I could see it get through 60. It might consolidate a little bit around that range, getting up there, but still very bullish here. Nice, Cricket. Thank you. Up 100%. Thanks for letting me know. Anytime guys make some trades and you make some good money on it, email me in the chat or whatever. I'd love to hear from you. See how you guys are doing out there. Okay. All right. Some of the other stocks I've been looking at, going through the top three. We just looked at Valero, which was one of those. Let's glance back here at Yahoo. Same thing. Nice setup here, pushing up towards the highs of the day, right here towards the close. Strong setup. Um, yeah, the bullish nature is still here. The odds are still saying that this is due to run higher. And I'd put this about $3 higher from that breakout when I break out here above the 41. So around the 44 to $45 area. We showed this is one of the examples I used at lunch on those options. We used the $40 strike, and if it hit 45 on the February options, that was 100% return. 44 was about an 80% return with the risk of about 25 to 30% if it drops down to 40 or just under it. Okay. It's a nice looking setup here. All right, then last top three was, and this is Delphi Automotive. And same thing, this is breaking out. These are all, now let me bring in the vibe. These are all bull vibe signals, every one of these. One of them is just about a trend rider bull. Some of them are close to trend rider bulls, but you've a lot going on here. You got $60, got an ascending triangle pattern coming to it, which is a continuation pattern suggesting that this is likely to break. The strong volumes, which is just off your chart. There's the volumes for you. Day volume, very strong. The whole group's up. If I look at AutoZone, big breakout today. Now this is a pricier stock, but same type of a pattern here. Ascending triangle up over the 480 mark. Really you're trading one of these. It's like trading almost any of them. You got the strong volumes to back this move here. A big push above 40. This could go up towards 500. higher dollar stock percentage wise, you get the lower dollar stocks running them. You'll probably get the same type of a move. And the other one here is O'Reilly. And now this one's just ran. This is too far, gone too far too fast. Same thing, a little bit of ascending triangle pattern there, and today's breaking out. I mean, this is $2.50 away from the 7, a little bit overextended rather than the Delphis and the auto zones of the world. But yeah, that just took off and ran. The volumes are there. There's a big move going on here within the group, and I like the setups. Okay. Yeah, Valero earnings are on January 29th. Valero earnings January 29th. Yahoo earnings on the 28th of this month. Delphi February 3rd. Okay, so earnings they're ways off, and I wouldn't plan on holding really any of those more than a week and a half, 2 weeks. And if it makes a big move on you, I can argue getting out and taking it and running. Okay. Another stock I was looking at today was Mastercard. Didn't make top three. I would have liked to seen it break up just to push above the 840 mark. This is still a bullish looking setup. It could still likely to run up through 840. I was cherry picking. I was cherry picking. There was a lot of nice setups out there today, so I just cherry picked and found the crickets got to go. Isn't there a song about that, right? From the 80s, 70s? Wham! Wake me up before you go. Sorry about that. But nice push here. Yeah, I mean, geez, I believe you said you have calls on this cricket, and it's gone up about probably $1 higher from where I'm just guessing here from where we saw it this morning. Nice. I like the setup. It's rallied down. Sorry, it's rallied. It's fallen down here to the $24 area. Notice how 24 held here, and look at the volumes on that hold of 24. Some pretty strong volumes. Pushes up off of it. Now we're coming back towards. So now we're retesting it for a second time. So we're starting to build a little bit of a base here. The volumes, and still look at the volumes. Pretty decent volumes here as it's held that level. And then today, look at the big breakout volume. And good chance this is run up towards 28, if not 30. It's a very nice looking setup on GoGo. Yeah, cricket. Yeah, yeah, it's a very nice looking signal here, cricket. Nah, I want to run through really fast and just check into the gold. I'm not tempted yet. They've built a pretty nice base here. Now, AG, we've been looking at this one for a while. It's had these abandoned candles patterns. Let me come up here a little bit. And they've gotten a little bit of follow through on them. But now you can see it's built a little base. Yeah, you could look at this and say, okay, there's a little bit of a double bottom pattern down here. You can see that, and it's a bullish double bottom pattern. The area for it to break would be $10. You could even argue 950, 960. It shot up here this one time, and I'll usually give it the benefit of the doubt, go a little bit more conservative. Some people probably draw it down here around 960 or so, but look what it did today. Falls below that point, falls below the 7, turns and runs up on some strong volume. This is a nice looking setup. It's a nice looking setup. How far could it go? Another dollar. And for a stock in this range, that's a pretty good. That's a nice move. 10%. The options could do well on a 10% stock move. And where I get a dollar is from the low of the valleys at $9 to the highs, which is $10. So you get a dollar there. Push up. This could run up towards the 11.5 area. And then I'll look, okay, is 11.5, is that any type of big support slash resistance in the past? Not really. a bigger level, 12.5. That would be ultra aggressive. But I'd give it a solid dollar here. Nice looking setup. Yeah. Merck and Company. Let me go back to the vibes. Yeah, cricket. I would agree. That's why I keep a very close eye on the miners. AG, silver, it's caught my attention. Gold core GG is acting pretty strong too. It's not quite there yet, but AG has just been, when the others have been down, it's been holding its own and actually moved up a little bit in the face of everything else around it selling off or moving very little. That's why I like that AG. Okay. Um, with with Merck here, it's a vibe bull signal. It's sold off a little bit here into the close. It still looks like it's going to break 50 and hold that level. Well, it broke it. Looks like it's going to hold that level. Now, when it sells off a little bit towards the close, it doesn't take the bearish nature off the setup. It just lessens the odds that it's going to break out right here and now. But still, it's a strong looking chart. You don't doesn't have the volume, but you don't necessarily need the volume, right? For this type of a vibe bull is a continuation of a trend. Okay, so in a continuation of a trend, the volumes you'd like to see them, and it's decent volume today. Uh, it doesn't. It just decreases the odds slightly. The odds are still in the favor of the bulls here. Okay, so it's still the odds are likely to go higher. Just diminishes them just ever so slightly if it sells off a little bit like this. Okay, but it still looks to run higher. A stop here, I'd probably give it a 7. 50 would be too close. It's just 14 cents above it. I'd give it a 7-day moving average. That's still a little bit close for a stock in this range, but a nice tight stop like that. If I was in a trade here, I wouldn't get out. As far as getting in, there's better setups out there, but it's not a bad looking bullish setup. Pfizer. This one's sold off. I saw this earlier this morning when I was going around looking at through all kinds of stocks that I do every day. So this one's had a ascending triangle pattern. Now, earlier on, it was breaking out of that. It looked like it was going to go places. It's sold off. Now that black hollow candlesticks means that the current price is at the bottom of that. So right around where I drew that line is the current price of it. So it's sold off since the open. It's still trading higher, but it's sold off from where it opened up. I would watch. This is probably going to give you another opportunity. If I'm in a trade, I wouldn't exit. Okay, if I'm looking to enter a trade, again, there's better setups out there, but I would like to see this, and it might give you another opportunity tomorrow. I'd like to see this push up off of this level, off of the prior resistance right here above 3075. Like to see it push up off of that. Then you got a better signal. Right here, as far as an entrance, it's pulled back a little bit. It's nothing overly big and weakness here, overly big signs of bearishness. It just weakens the upside potential a little bit, but I think it'd give you another opportunity tomorrow if it came down to that, and again, bounced up off that 37.5 area, would be a very bullish signal. It's not far from the 7. If I was looking to get in, I'd wait for something like that. All right, LinkedIn. Yeah, nice. All I can say is nice trade, Max. Came down here to 200, gap down to 200. Nice looking oversold bounce is what I got today on two downgrades. Two downgrades for some pretty from pretty big companies out there. The downgrades came from Bank of America and Merrill Lynch, and it rallied in spite of those two. And this is a bullish engulfing pattern on volume. Nice, nice. I can say Max's nice job, nice timing. He bought when there was blood on the street, and he even said that in the chat. Good job, Max. All right, let's run through the positions again. Boeing up a couple dollars. It's a bull vibe. It's now a trend rider bull signal on the upper band like that. We're not going anywhere. Okay, yeah, thanks, Richard. Thanks for bringing that back. Sorry, got ahead of myself. And then Morgan Stanley, it's holding right there at the 31.5 level. It's just kind of been with the other financials today. They just struggled. Yesterday, when they were outperforming the market, today the market's up and they're underperforming the market slightly. So uh, we're going to hold this again. The stop's not that far. It's on the 7. So we're going to let this run for us. Qualcomm, nice. It's rallying into the close up 54 cents. We've got 12 minutes left in the day, closing over 73. Um, yeah, we're not going to exit any of our positions today. We're going to let these run tonight and watch them again tomorrow and see where they're going to take us. Okay. Open table. Yeah, I saw this one earlier. This is one of those that's gone too far too fast. It's if I was looking to get into a trade right here, well, I missed it. Uh, nice gap and run. But right now, so far away from the 7, solid $3 above the 7 right now. There's it's when we're coming up on past resistance, they're at 84. Now it's on some big volumes, maybe some news. I don't know if there was earnings on it or what, but I'd check the news. Big volumes, nice run. It's just it's just where do you control how do you control the risk at this point? The options are going to be pretty pricey if you're thinking of getting in. If you're in it, I would give it another day. If it looks like it's going to weaken at 84, I'd probably exit and take the gains. But if I'm looking to get in, I want it to settle back down. Let that 7 catch up with a little bit. Try to find a higher low in here somewhere. If it pulls back to 82, great. 82 was past resistance for it. If it pulls back to 82 and retests that and you get a bounce up off 82, hey, then you got a solid entry in the 7s right there, hopefully. If it keeps running, watch where it pulls back to and then look for the next bounce higher is what you're looking for. Let it set a higher low in here at this point. But again, yeah. Yeah, with Win, I don't think it was quite as far as extended away from the 7 as this is here. And there was some other stuff going with the gaming stocks were all starting to show, the Macau thing. And I keep coming back to Macau. That seems to be the biggest area of growth right now for these stocks, for the Las Vegas Sands and MGMs and Winds of the world, where it's really growing. And then there's even a positive article out on it today about Japan. Okay, I'm just I don't go to Vegas much, and usually when I go through Vegas, I'm with a. Anyways, it's fun driving through. It's beautiful. I'm not much of a gambler. I used to do blackjack, and that's about it. And then I realized, hey, I could just take $100 or whatever and go give it to somebody in a casino, and I could do just as well. At least I put my money to some good use, giving it to the casinos. Now I did have some winners, but yeah, uh, no. Yeah, Richard, right? Yeah, Qualcomm. This is a nice move on it today. The other days where it went up during the day, it always sold off, right? It would sell off. Now today was one of those days, and we were talking about this earlier here, how the market was up and all of our positions went up bigger, more so than they'd done all year or since we got in these trades, right? And then it was a matter of I didn't think they'd pull back because they were up so much during the day, and they did pull back a little bit. But to see them, again here coming up into the close is a positive. The only one that's really not is Morgan Stanley. And again, it's going to close here above where I want. I'd like to see it close above 31.5. It's still above that level, still above the 7. And with it outperforming yesterday and a little bit underperforming today, it just might one of these deals. Some of the market's rallying today and some of it's taking a breather. That's probably what's going on here. So I'm going to hang on to the positions tonight. I think we had a good close on all of our positions. Yeah, the exponential, it's a little bit sharper moving average, but they're very similar. And I can show you an exponential if you want versus a simple come in here. And then I'll just put in a 7 and update that. Ever slow slightly. I mean, you could use an exponential. I mean, there's nothing magical about a 7-day moving average or a 7-day exponential. You 5 or an 8, 6, but the 7, for us it works. And I'm sure if you've looked at it long enough, you notice how stocks just tend to gravitate to it. So yeah. Yeah, that's one thing about Priceline. And we talked about it a little bit yesterday. And who was it? Someone said this is going to run today, and they were absolutely right. Yeah, come on now, and you can. Anyways, this is one of those stocks, and I mentioned it yesterday. You don't want to stay in this an extra day. If you got a nice gain on it, you don't want to stay in Priceline here and hope for another nice day to come. Because you get caught in these bottoms like that. What happened today is can happen. Up 25 bucks. That's 2%, right? 2% is 2% though. Um, yeah, that's a very nice run. And I'm not sure if anybody did jump into calls, but it was a great call. One of the stocks I was asked about is U.S. Steel. Got an email on this, and now it's in a bull vibe trend mode, right? You got the averages all rising here. It's just closing below the 7, and it's just a slight close. There's no big volumes. Um, 29, if I was to get bullish on that, I'd like to see it hold. But really, you get one day here where it closes, it pushes back up over the 30, up through the 7 over 30 like that, and above the highs right through here, just over 30. Hey, you got something going on. Right now, just watch, wait, and see. And there's nothing bearish about what's going on. When it closes below the 7 on an uptrending stock, it just says it's not ready to run higher yet. And just be patient, watch, and see that we can get that move up there above that $30 mark. And you did it, Slawick. Nice. Good to hear. Nice. All right. Nucor. Now, this is going to be very similar, right? Very similar to a U.S. Steel. The same thing. It's you look at this, and this has actually been holding support here around 52 and a half. It's just bam, bam, bam. So what you want to see here is a break up over 53 and get back above that 7. And if you get that, you got a higher low set in. So you look at the the, the lows here. Pardon me. The lows, they keep going higher, so we're not breaking anything here. It got below the 7. Yeah, it's showing some short-term weakness. Now, if this breaks and starts to run back below the 50-day moving average, then I'd get worried. But right now, you still got a higher low there. And then you get a day like this where it pushes up through the 7 and over 53. You got the bullishness coming back into it. And at that point, it looks like it's ready to run and break up out of this $54 area. And that's been resistance back there in November, and also late December is where we saw some resistance up there again. But again, the higher low locked in there so far, holding that 53, 52 and a half level. And look at the volumes as it's held that level. They're off your screen there. But it's been some pretty strong volumes as it's held that level all through here. So yeah, I mean that's a great sign that that's likely to hold us some support. Now you're just watching this to push up. So if I was in it, I wouldn't get out unless it started breaking down below. I'd probably give it yesterday's low, even the 50-day moving average, which is about the same spot. If it started breaking there, then I'd run. But right here, where it's still holding the level, look for that push up above 53, and you still got it going. I'm just reading through some of the chats. Sorry. We got a great group of guys and gals out there. I appreciate it, and a lot of you email me. And hey, if you have questions, email me and let me know how things are going for you. I have questions about a trade or something you want me to look at off air. That's fine too, or I can bring it up on the air as well. Okay, well, we got about 2 minutes left here in the trading day, a minute and a half or so. Well, according to stock charts, it already closed, but Thinkorswim still trading. Did that yesterday too. It's closing up a couple bucks. Morgan Stanley closing down 11 cents, still right there. Yeah, now look at this one's trading. And then Qualcomm, and we just looked at these and just running back real quick here. Up 51 cents and closing over that the $73 area. So yeah, we're holding them all. And yeah, we're going to hold these and trade them watch them again tomorrow and see if we can't get some more on these. Richard, thank you very much. Yeah, from here on, I mean, the challenge, I have to go in and see where Boeing closed. When we looked at this earlier, the challenge was sitting at about 71.33. We're just another week. We're going to be halfway through the challenge. Goal at this point is to get up to I'd love to see us get to the 15 to 20,000 range. It's pretty aggressive, but hey, I want to be aggressive. So in the market, there's not, knock on wood, before we had that last month going into the Feds, was pretty difficult to trade. Some good signals. There wasn't any follow through. Wasn't much follow through. We had some great signals. Not a lot of follow through ahead of that big Fed announcement on the tapering. Got that out of the way. The market's settling down a little bit. I think the moves are going to be a little bit more follow through in the moves we'll look at coming up. So me personally, I think I'm looking forward to moving on with this challenge. We'll reevaluate Boeing tomorrow and see if we want to take it off and take the gains, or take some of it off and put some money into another trade so we can have two trades out there on it. We're going to be looking at that tomorrow. Jeff was here. We had a little bit of meeting about the current state of the challenge. It's one of the things that put me a little bit late for the top three. So we're on top of it. And halfway through, if we can get up again, I mean, if we can finish with 10, 15, I'd be happy. But, I want to shoot for, 20 up in that range. But we'll see where it takes us. Again, knock on wood. There's not a whole lot for the market to worry about right now. And it's oversold. And now I'm starting to see, oversold. I'm starting to see articles come out. Somebody today, I forget the name, someone out saying, it's going to be a 10% correction. Yeah, we've heard that. I've seen those articles. They always come out when the market's had some nice runs. You get them, and if they're right and the market has a 10% correction, then they're geniuses, right? Okay, but at this point, the slight pullbacks, just looking at the S&P technically, the slight pullbacks and a move here today to get up over that 7, it just closed pretty much on the 7. It's bullish in nature. The bigger pullbacks is where I start to worry a little bit about the bulls. If they get a break here of down underneath that 1820 mark, then I might get a little bit more bearish. But right now, the setups out there, the risers, the gainers today were 2-1 over the losers. It's pretty bullish, and it's a pretty broad rally. If I come over here to FinViz, come out here, let's look and see how this day fared. And earlier on, I mentioned this in chat, how basic materials was the weak spot. I mean, financials, hardly any reds besides JP Morgan. There were a couple in the red. JP Morgan was in the red. I forget the others in here. But most of them were just dark green to black, which means they're up very slightly or flat on the day. Okay, so these rolled over a little bit, and when it kind of went stagnant, not a lot of them, but some of the bigger names did. But you notice some of the smaller, more regional did okay today. But you look over here, this was where the turnaround happened. You still had some of the equipment services and the chemicals down a little bit, but CVX was another very nice looking setup. ExxonMobil had a nice setup today. Tesoro over here, nice setup. Valero had a nice turnaround here in the energies, and that's a positive for the group. And I think they'll probably get some follow through here. Okay. Um, Jonathan, we're not out of Boeing. So when I say we're sitting at right around the 3,200 mark, it might be a little bit more, it might be a little bit less than that as far as the current state of the challenge. That's if we were to sell Boeing right now. We're right about that. I mean, I'd have to go in and do the final math on it, see where Boeing ended up today as far as dollar wise for us. But right around the 3,200 range, give or take a little bit on the either side of that. Okay, and that's if we sold Boeing. Okay, so we'd have to sell Boeing before that's locked in. We On our website, if you go down and you were to click on, you go down to where the trades are and you click on one of the trades. I'm sorry, you click on the closed $100,000 challenge trades, closed challenge trades. When you click on one of the trades into the closed challenge trade, and then you're going to notice a little tab that says previous trade. You'd have to back into the trades for this challenge. All right. We're working on getting a page out there like an Excel spreadsheet that's going to show every trade and the gain and the loss and where the current challenge sits. It'd be really nice to look at for us and you guys as well. Okay, so that's being worked on right now. So hopefully that's up here in the next little while. We were talking about that to one of our developers here today. Does a great job for us. Okay. Good job, Max. You've got a nice time machine there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. I'm just reading through the chats. Yeah. It's Smitty. Bring up a good point. Let's look at. We talked about it just a minute ago, but that's fine. J.P. Morgan. They ended up 1.2 billion, right? And this was basically to get the Madoff thing off their back, from what I've been reading. And and for them, is it really breaking anything big here? No. You're just looking at it technically. If you would have told me that J.P. Morgan's being fined or paying 1.2 billion, now it's such a big company, that's nothing to them. That's like, it's paying $10 to somebody, right? But if I just looked at this technically, I would have thought nothing happened today other than the financials were weak. It's not breaking the seven. Yeah, it's a 1% drop, 68 cents. It's back to the seven. It held the seven. Now, if it started breaking through 58, then I'd get a little bit more nervous. But this really kind of did what the other financials did today as well. If we go over here to Goldman's, they all pulled back. They underperformed today, whereas yesterday they outperformed. Look at Goldman's, Bank of America. Same thing. Bank of America here sitting with a bearish engulfing pattern. Like I was saying this morning, that they could consolidate a little bit and let that seven catch up with it. But I overall still think this is going to run a little bit higher. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those guys can write out billion-dollar checks. They don't like to, of course, and nobody would like to write out a billion-dollar check no matter what you're worth. However, it's not going to phase them a whole lot to write out a check for 1.2 billion to get that all behind them. Okay, and yeah, and there's been other fines for them in the past, but right now that for them wasn't a whole lot. So overall, yeah, the financials were again underperformed, whereas yesterday they outperformed, and it could just be one of those deals, where the market's rallying, and then tomorrow they could all start going back up. Okay. All right, everybody. Again, thanks for tuning in today. It's great to have you on board. If you have any questions, you can reach us through email. But we'll see you guys in the morning and gals in the morning. Okay, take care. Bye bye.